Hi, everyone. This is Scott Brick. Welcome to my studio. Thank you for joining me. Another episode of Narrating in Quarantine, but thankfully we don't have to wear a mask in here. I wanted to tell you about a book that I worked on recently that I'm really excited about, and I wanted to make sure that you all knew that it was coming out soon. March 2nd, Tuesday, March 2nd is when the book will be available. Um, Michael Moss, back in 2013, I believe it was, wrote a book called Salt, Sugar, Fat, and it changed my life. I eat differently because of that book. I live my life differently because of Michael's writing. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter with the New York Times, and he wrote this book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, about those three elements and how the food giants use them to manipulate our susceptibility to food addiction. And with his latest book, Hooked, again, March 2nd, he delves into where addiction comes from, the effects of food addiction, how pervasive it can be, and how it can be manipulated. And I wanted to share with you just a little bit from the the prologue. He spends the prologue talking about the case of a young woman named Jaslyn Bradley, who early in life became addicted to McDonald's. She was eating it every single day of her life, and she became hugely overweight. And she became part of a class action suit, um, suing McDonald's. And um, the rest of the prologue talks about, and much of the rest of the book talks about how petrified the food giants were at the probability that, this danger posed by this young woman, what kind of dangers this could pose for the industry as a whole. I'd like to share with you just a little bit at the end of the prologue. Now, with more and more people unable to make dieting work for them, and more of us wanting to better our eating habits, these manufacturers are competing to take ownership of these trends too. They're adding ingredients that, billed as the cure to compulsive eating, are no more than placebos. They're digging into our DNA in hopes of unlocking a gene that can keep our cravings at bay. They're also trying to win back our faith in processed food by tweaking the neurology of our taste buds to make it okay to crave their products as much as we do. The global food manufacturer Nestle has been a trailblazer in this turn toward better processed food. I was in the room when the company's 60 top product developers recently met to hash out ways to lessen the mismatch between some of its biggest sellers and the biology of our addiction, and they seemed astonishingly earnest. I have a list of products I don't want to see on the shelf anymore, the company's newly appointed chief technology officer, Stephen Katsikis, told the group. We need to reverse engineer this problem. In the end, that is what this book is about. Only here, the aim is to lay out all that the companies have done to exploit our addiction to food so that we might reverse engineer our dependence. Clearly, this is a bigger challenge than I previously thought, given how we, through our nature, can be unwitting conspirators with all that the industry does to control our decisions on what to eat and how much. There may be pitfalls in framing our trouble with food in terms of addiction, given the industry's ability to maneuver around such criticisms. But there might also be one huge benefit. Some of the most promising strategies to help us regain control of our food and eating can be found in the tactics used to fight other addictions, from smoking to drug abuse to smartphones. And in this regard, addiction to food might be more than a shared burden. It could be part of the path forward to a healthier future. I urge you to read Hooked. And, read Salt, Sugar, Fat as well. Every American, hell, everybody on earth, everybody who's ever struggled with weight, read these books, learn from them. As I said, I live my life differently because of Michael's writing, and I am privileged beyond words to be able to share this latest book by, in my opinion, an American hero, Michael Moss. Hooked, available March 2nd, 2021. Thanks for listening.